Waiting. Oh, yeah! Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Wrestling Exchange. My name is Ted. I'm joined with, as always,
Papa in the house. Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back indeed. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the episode of the Wrestling Exchange, and we have a very special guest tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for our guest, T-Bone.
What's up, guys? How you doing? Ready to get this thing rocking and rolling.
All right, T-Bone. Little background on T-Bone. He is, his sons are my godchildren. Good friend of mine, wrestling guru. Glad to have you on the show.
I'm pleased to be here, guys. Looking forward to, obviously adding my insight to your outstanding show.
Thanks, T-Bone. All right, Ted, so let's get this ball rolling.
And yeah, man, we're super excited. And actually, before we get the actual nuts and bolts of what we're going to talk about this week, if you're you out there, you looking on the screen and you see me, if you like what we're doing here, click that thumbs up button, share, subscribe, go to the Facebook page, interact with us, comment, do all that stuff, embed and post and various different sites. We want to bring you more premium content like this, and we have a lot of really big ideas, right, Papa?
Big ideas. Big guy.
Top secret shit, though. But in order to get there, we need your support. So just, tell us what you like. And please go down below, type it in. Let's go. Like, subscribe, comment, all things like that. That being said, and out of the way, now we can get into the good stuff this week. First off, on an interesting note, apparently on a SmackDown taping, Big Show came out to the audience and asked the crowd to chant yes as a motion towards Daniel Bryan's speedy recovery to kind of send him a video. And there's various things with the dirt sheets about what's going on with his injury and whatnot. But they basically record the segment where the fans are chanting yes. And then apparently in the aired version, they used that same, I guess, audio and possibly even video. I didn't see it myself. I heard about this secondhand. And they basically used that instead to promote the network when Vince is basically describing all things network related for this month, which we do have some big news on. But T-Bone, your thoughts on the network, and is this kind of a sleazy thing to do?
Well, the way that the WWE marketing machine works is it really doesn't surprise me that they would do something like this, and I'll tell you why. We all know, anybody who's followed WWE, their stock, the network, since they've launched it, they've been trying to get to 1 million subscribers, and they have not hit that number. And they are trying any and everything that they can do to try to get people motivated to go ahead and subscribe to this service, which obviously we'll get into a little bit later. Doesn't surprise me that Vince McMahon would go. Obviously, they're very short on where they want to go with that number. Jamming WWE Network on their shows, everything down your throat, is only going to push people away. They're trying to get to that 1 million number. I don't think they're going to hit that number. I don't think they're promoting it or marketing it properly. And jamming it down your throats and doing these sly little tricks like trying to incite responses from the live crowd and taking that audio and trying to do that is just another cheap marketing ploy by WWE to just give them more money to their machine. Their stock is down. Obviously, viewership is down. And they're trying any and every little trick that they can try to do it. I don't agree with their marketing strategy, but I can understand why they're trying to do it.
Or even lack of marketing strategy, because I don't know if you've noticed, but the only time I see it advertised, and I cut my is if I'm reading the news and I get a link to another news that happens to be there, like network. But outside of that, I haven't seen any sort of major intention of this of a campaign to kind of roll this thing out, and you would think that they would have done that. Pablo, I'm curious, interested in your thoughts of the use of the Daniel Bryan chants, and your thoughts on the network and
Well, with the chance, I think that was a kind of a cheap shot, especially with Daniel Bryan still being out and then them switching it as a marketing scheme. But, I mean, McMahon owns it all, so he's going to do what the hell he's going to do regardless. As for the network, I mean, we get to hit 1 million, it should be like really simple. I mean, because they sell out stadiums every show, and then you got to think about that. There's at least 5 digits in that number, and then what? 50 states, 5 digits? Come on, man! And then they go across to international, Canada, Europe, Japan. Asia, I mean, what the hell, dude? They should have hit that number by now, for real. I'm totally.
Well, I don't know if it. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, you go. I don't want to go. You go.
I mean, it's something that simple where they should actually market it correctly. I'm in total agreement with T-Bone. I mean, the content it needs that je ne sais quoi, if you will.
If you will. So, T-Bone, then, question. Because we know one of the most effective ways of advertising is word of mouth, right? Whether it's small business, big business, things like that. So my question to you, T-Bone, is it that there could be more of that, except that there isn't. Let me put it to you this way: with the amount of libraries they have, all the territory videotape libraries that they have, whether it be large or small, they own. Vince McMahon owns wrestling, so see how little of content is actually there. I mean, sure, there's an insane amount, but there's all this other stuff that they haven't uploaded. Is that, and do you think the network is salvageable?
I think the network is salvageable. Yeah, I think the network is salvageable. I think one of the biggest mistakes was they had their network streaming through cable systems, and it was pretty successful. And I was systems. And one of the marketing things that they did, which they're trying to do right now with the network, is they used to promote different types of months and stuff like that. But the marketing machine was behind the cable operators. And they would reach a lot bigger audience because obviously cable subscribers and satellite subscribers throughout the country. Now the problem is that they didn't really market on DirecTV or Dish Network, but they really pushed it on Comcast and all of those different types of mediums that they had. It was pretty successful. And that's why Vince McMahon decided to get greedy, in my opinion, and bring it in-house. And decided to, all right, well, if it's going to be successful on cable, I'm going to make more money. I'm going to go ahead and do that. It was the marketing and that reach that they had. Because one thing about Comcast and other cable systems of that nature, you're going to hit those commercials and those promotions and all of that stuff across all different types of channels, not just the USA Network, but across all different types of channels. I'll be watching TV 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and you see an advertisement for it. Vince doesn't have that type of reach because he basically cut out the cable systems and basically he doesn't have a good relationship with any of those entities anymore. And we can see that with DirecTV sometimes pulling pay-per-views and things of that nature, and they're trying to push everybody into this network to be able to see WWE, with the exception of Raw and SmackDown and Main Event on network television. I think by him taking it in-house, I think he bit off a little bit more than he can chew, and I think that right now they're suffering for it. Is it salvageable? Absolutely. And you touched on a very good point. The fact that he has such a vast library of ECW, WWE, WWF, WCW, Smoky Mountain, any of those big-time wrestling organizations, those libraries, he has got so much at his disposal that can hit all facets and all ages and all ranges of wrestling fans. If you're a 70-year-old man and you want to watch old school AWA wrestling that was on in the 70s, I mean, I'll tell you right now, you know, you're going to get your fix if you go to WWE Network. You have those mediums and you have all of those different age ranges that you can hit on. But the way that they're marketing, as I mentioned before, by trying to jam it down your throat on their programming and not really, as you said, hitting the type of advertising that they should, be it email marketing campaigns, not just advertising on their website. I don't think that they're reaching the base that they could, and I think whoever is handling the marketing for the network is failing miserably, and the numbers are reflecting that. With this much that he has at his disposal and owning the wrestling business as he does, including the entire history of the business, you know, he should be well over a million subscribers, like Papo said as well. And it's just a shame. It really is, because wow, there's just so much that you could look at. I mean, to sit down and say, you know what, I'm an ECW fan. I feel like watching November to November 1998. I want to sit down and do that. The network can provide that for you, but they don't promote it the way that they should, and their numbers are suffering for it.
Bam!
Yeah, and knowledge bomb. So, as a quick follow-up, and this will be to both of you gentlemen with me, both matter. Do you think it was so much that Vince McMahon got greedy, or is seeing the big picture overall that people are indeed cutting? Like, for example, for my table, before I did that, I wanted to basically buy the channels that I knew I was going to watch. And you think it was wise of them, at least I do, and I'm curious of your opinion, was it wise to go this route with a quote-unquote over-the-top network, if you will?
If you will.
And I have a follow-up to that, but I don't remember, so let's just go with that.
Well, in my opinion, I think it's kind of a bit of both. I think he kind of got greedy, like I mentioned before, cutting out the cable systems and ruining those relationships. Really cut out a huge piece of marketing for the WWE network. I think that if he would have kept those relationships strong, he probably could reach a lot more of an audience. There are some old school wrestling fans that don't like the new brand of wrestling that they're seeing on television right now. But they still have their roots, and it takes them back to a better time in their life in terms of their childhood, watching old school wrestling. And I know for me, it's very nostalgic to sit down and sit down with my sons and show them some of the wrestling that I saw. And it's really cool to kind of bring them into that. You're not going to get that with today's WWE fan, because they're not marketing to a broader audience. And again, I think it's suffering for that. So he got greedy, and it's backfiring. And by cutting out the cable systems like he's doing and ruining those relationships, it's going to be an uphill battle to get to that number. In his mind, he's a genius, and he is. He wouldn't be where he's at and built a billion-dollar empire and owned the wrestling industry if he wasn't a genius. I'm not going to take anything away from Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon is the man when it comes to the history of this business, building it to what it is today. But he is so cocky and so arrogant that the impact is just, he's feeling it right now, and they're scrambling. They're scrambling. They forced that 6-month commitment up front. Obviously, that didn't work out well. Now they're trying this new commitment where you can go month to month, but you pay a couple of dollars more, and you know that's not really helping either. And you know he's really, and like Papo said, he's not tapping into that international market the way that he should as well, and that's a problem. with Japan and Europe especially, they do very well to go overseas. They sell out every show, just like they do here in the U.S. They put butts in the seats over there, and people love the product. They love the product over there, and he is not hitting those networks properly. And it's going to be an uphill battle. I would like to see the WWE Network succeed because I think that he's got a great platform that can hit just about anything that you want to hit in any genre, in any age that you want to see. The golden age of wrestling, the silver age of wrestling, the Attitude Era, the Monday Night War, whatever you want to look at, ECW, AWA. I mean, I'll keep throwing those names out there. There is just so much history in this business for the wrestling fan of all ages. He has to learn how to market it properly. He needs to swallow his pride, and he needs to rethink his strategy. And I think that they could do that if he's willing to do that. But if anybody knows Vince McMahon, he's not going to compromise himself for anyone. And that's a shame. It really is.
So then, here's an interesting point, because I'm with you on all of that. But Jim Ross talks in his podcast about ideas to kind of bring attention to the network. One of the things that he mentions is the idea, and I think it's a very slick idea, being that social media is what it is. Basically have superstars, competitors, whatever you want to call them, basically tweet or Facebook or whatever the fuck what it is they're watching. Like maybe John Cena's in his bus going home from a show and he's on the network and he's like, just finished watching Halloween Havoc, Chamber Match of Horrors, worst match ever, LOL. And then that could go out to all of his people. And they could go find it, which is ironic because I think I'd love that match. There's a soft spot in my heart for that. Do you think, and first to Papo and then to T-Bone, do you think this addition, or this idea would help drive in more viewers and more people, even the ones that are just...
Honestly, I believe it would draw in more as a whole. But again, their marketing, there's something that they're not marketing right. I say go ahead with the international thing, but that's just my opinion, and that's all I got to say about that.
And just to kind of touch on what Papo said, the international market is a broad market. Obviously, the economy is good over there. There is money to be made, and I don't think they're tapping into that market the way they should. I think that they could probably hit that mark if they would promote the network more overseas. In regards to, I see how they promote, ECW month or whatever the case may be, package it, but I just don't think they're doing it properly, and I don't think that they're really hit. And I'll say it again, I just don't think that they're hitting the genres and they're hitting all the ages. They're just kind of pick a small pie, and they're just here, eat it, and they're just shoving it down your throat. And we're going to tell you, the wrestling fan, what you want to see and what you want to watch. And I don't think that they're doing it. I think they really need to build and work off of the nostalgia and history of the business. The libraries that they have, and I'll say it again, it's extensive. It's extensive, and you can hit so many different age ranges, man. And they're just not doing that.
Sure, I mean,
they just pick what their opinion is to what they think you want to watch, and end a month on TV jamming it down your throat, and it's not working.
Well, I mean, I'm excited because they have all of like Jim Crockett Promotions, right? I'm a big ECW specifically, and what's interesting is that, and we've found even in this conversation also, is that they have Mid-South, they have Stampede, they have the fucking AWA. I don't know, I kind of was born at the ass end of the territory, so a lot of them don't hit me off the top. You gotta figure he owns them all, and he should be able to do so. Last question, gentlemen, before we actually get into the review of the show itself, this past Raw. The network being given away for free for this month, including the pay-per-view. Is this a good idea or a bad idea?
I like it. I really do. T-Bone?
I think it's a good idea too. I think it's a step in the right direction for them, offering a free month. It gives people who didn't want to give it a chance or spend the $9.99, and in hindsight, $9.99 a month really isn't shit, to be honest with you. It really isn't. But it gives an opportunity for those people who are curious to kind of take a look and see exactly what they have and what it's all about. And throwing the pay-per-view in there, I think it has its pros and cons. Could it backfire because they could lose revenue from that? Absolutely. But is it possible that they're banking on, by giving it a free run and giving people an opportunity to see what they have, that maybe they will catch on enough subscribers to make that money up? That remains to be seen, but I do like it. I mean, it's obviously a different idea, and you know, I don't know if it'll pay off. Obviously, time will tell.
Yeah. Idea. I'm concerned with the idea of giving the pay-per-view for free as well, because I think, okay, well, we did this before with a 2-week trial sometime back. I want to say 6 months or so. Free, and if you wanted to do on the pay-per-view, you had to subscribe. So I do think this is kind of interesting, and I think that this presents them with a really interesting challenge, because they've got a lot of really fucking really talented wrestlers on the roster, and they've just been killing it as far as matches. Maybe not everybody agrees on storylines, but the matches and the psychology between the ropes is pretty fucking good, and every for the pay-per-view, like giveaway, killer show, and then maybe, hopefully, that translates into subscriptions. But that being said, though, gentlemen, I want to get into this Monday Night Raw, November the 3rd, 2014. But before I do that, anything else either of the two you wanted to add before we make that transition? Keep this ball rolling, if you will.
If you will.
Well, just a final thought on this. I think them doing it in the month of November and Survivor Series, one of the big 4 pay-per-views of the year, is I think it's a good strategy. And you know, I'll tell you what, I'll take Survivor Series for free. No doubt about that. If it's free, it's for me.
And I'll take 3.
Touche.
I lost you there, Papa. What was that?
If it's free, it's for me, and I'll take 3.
And I throw in a touche.
Understood. And I'm completely agreeing with you. Free is good. That being said, no chance Vince McMahon showing up looking old as fuck. Probably still built like a motherfucking shithouse under that suit, but still looking old. And ultimately, he suggests a stipulation for the pay-per-view main event, which is Survivor Series. Versus Team Authority. However, if the Authority loses, the Authority will no longer be in power. And then, of course, there's an interesting exchange as Dean Ambrose comes down to the ring, and he has this awkward moment where he seems like he's over with Vince, and they 2 questions. Is just a red herring, and of course the Authority.
You froze on us, Ted.
Long-lasting damage against the Authority. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So the stipulation. Do we like it? Do we not like it?
I'm all for the stipulation, but that's going to lead into another plot twist, which I'll get to it later on in the show.
I'm sorry, guys, but I've seen this storyline before 15 times. They need to get more creative. I saw the McMahon-Helmsley era during the Attitude Era. This is just a rehash with different players. They really gotta start getting creative. Kill it and let's move on. That's my opinion on it.
Quick quick question or thought. Do you think? Because I was thinking about this earlier, and I was having along with my wife about it because she couldn't tell me no. She's trapped in a room with me, and I'm going to talk wrestling. Damn it. But do you think that this whole storyline would be better served if you had, say, for example, everything's still the same, the Authority's still in power, they're still the heel, except that Vince kind of like takes someone under his wing and appoints GM, so that way, at the very least, you'll have like a babyface GM that can somewhat Triple H his opportunities.
Well, in my opinion, just kind of going back to what you said, during the McMahon-Helmsley era, and again, I watched The Authority, and it's just a rehash all over again. But back then, you had Mick Foley in that role that you're talking about right now. And they don't have that right now. And a lot of the guys that they have on the roster really can't carry that torch, so to speak. So they're making do with what they got. But I agree with you. I think if you had that good guy GM that's just going to constantly butt heads with them in a power role where you have that power struggle, would make it a lot more interesting than it is.
Touche.
And better TV, right? I mean, it's a man drama, so it's just more drama on top of other drama, right?
Absolutely, and that's part of the problem with the roster that they have now. They have a lot of quality guys who can go in the ring. I mean, there's no question about it. There are some great matches that are being put on, but you put a microphone in some of these guys' hands, and you might as well just frickin' shoot yourself in the head, because some of these guys have the personality of a dead fish, and it's pretty frickin' sad.
All right, so and that's a good point. We can kind of segue away from what we were talking about a second ago to kind of get into this, because this is a really good question. I think, personally, that the business of pro wrestling suffers. Now, maybe it's done on Ring of Honor, but basically in town, the show is the WWE, and whatever they do is basically going to dictate what everybody else does, because instead of Lucha Underground, I haven't seen it yet, and I'd love to, but it seems like everybody's just kind of following the big dog here. So, I mean, T-Bone, you mentioned that. I mean, we can go back and we can think about, and this is one of the few things I say that's not subjective in pro wrestling, is that Bobby Heenan's the greatest manager of all time. Think about the Heenan family. I mean, there were Hercules Hernandez, okay, Don Morocco, two of my favorite wrestlers from the 80s, couldn't talk worth a damn. But they say their two lines, and then that's it. Are we just, I don't know, like, isn't this common sense?
I agree with you, and I think that the fact that they've gotten away from managers, I think has really impacted the business in a negative way. You could get away back in the day by having a Bobby Heenan, having a Mr. Fuji, having those types of guys in there that can be the mouthpiece for the guys who have no personality at all. Nowadays, you throw a mic in some of these guys' hands, and you get woo 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 and a bunch of garbage like that, and it's just, it's not the same. It's not the same. It's just not the same. And to be honest with you,
are you saying you're not a Zack Ryder fan?
No. Can the guy go in the ring? Can the guy go in the ring? And does the guy have talent? And do I think that him going in and getting crushed in 30 seconds every other week is a detriment to his skill? Absolutely. But his gimmick is worn thin. He's been doing woo 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 and all that garbage, man, for years. You've got to adapt and you've got to adjust. And he hasn't done that. But in his defense, WWE Creative hasn't really given him an opportunity to do that either.
I'm surprised, T-Bone. I thought you were with it, man. I thought you were a broski. It's okay though. I see how it is.
I understand what I
So
understand.
then,
I understand the whole broski thing, but come up with something different. I'll give you an example. Y2J.
right, it's stale.
Here's a guy. Here's a guy who evolved and changed his character many, many times over the years. This guy evolved. He's a tactical technician and one of the best technical wrestlers in the history of the business. If you can't tell, I'm a huge Y2J fan. That's my man. But he adapted and he adjusted.
That's okay. We all are.
That's what I'm saying. He adapted and he adjusted with the times. When his character was getting stale and getting worn thin, he made adjustments. The talent that you have nowadays is not doing that.
All right. So then, interesting thought. We're gonna segue like a motherfucker back into our coverage of Raw. We had Dean Ambrose versus Cesaro. T-Bone, we haven't seen you on the show before, so quick question. What are your overall thoughts on as far as Dean Ambrose, the character, and Cesaro?
Hold on, you cut out. Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
You cut out, Ted.
Oh shit, my bad. So segueing back into the order of events on Raw, because we're talking about the characters and the like. I was curious because the next match we have on the list here was Dean Ambrose versus Cesaro. So T-Bone, I'm curious your thoughts about these two characters in general, Ambrose and also Cesaro.
Right. Well, I like the Dean Ambrose character a lot. I like the fact that he just looks like a raging psychopath, and he plays that to perfection. I think he does well, and he backs it up because he's got skill in the ring too. As far as Cesaro goes, this is a guy who's just getting basically thrown all over the place. They throw him in different directions. I think the guy's got a lot of talent. He's super strong. The strength on this guy it blows my mind in the ring. Do I think that he could develop into a strong character on a microphone with some seasoning? Absolutely. But I don't think that the creative is really giving him a gimmick that's really, really conducive to his skill. And, I think that character needs a little bit of work on the mic. But in the ring, between the ropes, that guy's a beast. But I really love the Dean Ambrose character. I really do. When they were back with the Shield with him and Rollins and Roman Reigns, I always thought Dean Ambrose was the strongest of the three.
Papa, on the two characters individually?
Well, Cesaro, pound for pound, the strongest wrestler in the WWE today. Awesome in-ring skills. I enjoyed this match to a point. They did go ahead and start juicing, but from what I'm seeing here, it was a okay match for Raw. I would have started out just a bit more stronger, but that's just my opinion. So, and Ambrose, as right now, is the Funk of WWE.
Oh, as in Terry Funk?
No, as in the Funk.
Oh, you mean? I was confused because I was like, I can see Terry Funk, but I'm more in my mind. I see more like Brian Pillman. I get what. Who's got? Yeah, all right. Fuck you. Anyway, so they had a pretty decent match, and as Papa mentioned, there's a little blood. Side of his head. It did pick up later on, but I honestly, for the type of athlete that these two individuals are, I feel like this was nothing really to write home about. They didn't stop the match, and then, of course, Bray Wyatt appears on the stage in the rocking chair during the commercial break, which ultimately leads to Ambrose going to the top rope. He attempts a tornado DDT. Reversal Cesaro, like a crazy man, throws him into the air. You're on the way down. From Dean to some gestures to Wyatt. He rolls Cesaro back in the ring, who puts Ambrose into a backslide, I believe. and then Ambrose slips out of a double arm DDT for the win, and then lights go. The Wyatt man is gone. So being that we know that really this is just building to Ambrose versus Wyatt, it's better the slow build and have them not touch until the actual pay-per-view or free for excited for this feud. Anybody else?
Yeah, you lagged out on us there, Ted.
Oh, are we excited about the feud? And yeah, are we excited about the feud between these two characters?
T-Bone, if you will.
I am. To be honest with you, you're talking about a character in Bray Wyatt that's just, it's a phenomenal character. One of the few characters that they have going right now that's just, he's over as a heel. You believe him that he's crazy. And putting him against Ambrose, I think, is a good move on WWE's part. Do I think that they're going to put on some of the best wrestling that you're going to see? No. But I think that you're going to have some of the best mic work between these two that you're going to see that's going on TV right now. I think putting these two together is a good move. I think it pushes them both and pushes them towards that main event level in response to their characters. And I could see this feud going on probably for 1 or 2 months and being really strong in one of the stronger parts of the show.
Nicely put, T-Bone. I'm in total concurrence with you. I mean, you got one hand, you got the Bayou Psycho, and then you got this street thug who's also psycho, and you put them in the ring together, it's going to be chaotic, extremely chaotic. I mean, I see future juicing with this feud.
It's going to be fun to watch. That's for damn sure.
I'm going to throw a crazy question out there because it's one that's been rolling in my head for the past couple of days, and I had fun toying around with it in my mind. So, question: I'm not saying now necessarily, but do you think Ambrose would make an interesting addition to the Wyatt family? Because he wrestles in a fucking tank top and jeans, so he doesn't have to change his gear too much.
No, because he doesn't look like a hillbilly. I'm sorry. He doesn't fit the profile.
No, I would see if he were to join the Wyatts, he would push to lead them. He would try to take over.
Oh, there would definitely be conflict. I agree with you there, Papo. Not to cut you off, but yeah.
Not a problem. Sure. Not a problem at all, man. But I see Ambrose would attempt to take over leadership. Ambrose would attempt to take over leadership of the Wyatts. And then Bray's not having that.
I could get behind that story. That smells like money to me. I mean, where Stephanie and Triple H were talking to each other, and basically Triple H calls Orton on his phone. Stephanie mentions that allows us to find out that Seth Rollins is the leader of Team Authority, and then Triple H says if Vince put him in a bind and he needs to build the strongest team possible in order to do that, he needs Randy Orton. Are either of you buying this? Because I'm starting to sway, not starting, but I'm swaying on the side of Randy Orton is whether that's announced ahead of time or done last minute. Your thoughts?
I foresee it happening. T-Bone?
Yeah, he's going to join Team Cena. He's going to do that, but I think there's going to be a little bit of a swerve in there.
Not yet. Not yet.
Wouldn't be surprised. Wouldn't be surprised. I've seen this before about 130 times.
Hey, a snake is still a snake.
Touche. That's why he's the Viper.
Well, speaking of, it's funny. Speaking of seeing things 100 times, we have to talk about Jimmy Uso and his brother Jay versus Miz and Mizdow. Now, before we actually get into anything that happened in the match, the reason why I'm using that as a segue is because, speaking of a thing that we've seen in times before, we now have Jimmy and Jey Uso using the Killer Bees finish. I'm sure there was someone else before the Killer Bees that did it, but I don't know. So I'm using Killer Bees as my reference point. The Killer Bees finish they're now using. Two questions. Historically, this has been done by baby faces, I think with the exception of Public Enemy. And two, why the fuck would Michael Cole call it Twin Magic? Isn't there a better name for it?
I like Switcheroony.
What? Oh, sorry, that's funny. Yeah, I don't like that finisher name either. Obviously, you know, in this business, guys are gonna take moves from other guys. It's just a part of it. There's only so many moves that are out there. But calling it Twin Magic, like Michael Cole is calling it, I mean, you've got to come up with something better than that. That's just incessantly bad.
I mean, I get that, but I just feel like that's directly and immediately referencing the Bellas, which one has tits and one doesn't, one has an ass and one doesn't, one has hips and one doesn't. It's clearly obvious to tell the difference between the two. At the risk of sounding racist, those Usos look the fucking same to me, and I don't give a shit. I can't tell them apart. All I know is that one wears the face paint here, one wears the face paint here, and hold on, and one of them's fucking Naomi. I'm jealous. That's all I gotta say about that.
That's funny. Yeah, right. Hey, don't feel bad, man. I can't tell them apart either.
Good.
I can.
So
not.
I was gonna say if you can, doesn't count. So quick question to both of you gentlemen. Actually, first to T-Bone, because you haven't been on the show until today. So, what are your thoughts on Damien Mizdow doing what I call his interpretive Miz?
Damien Sandow. And I'm going to call him Damien Sandow because that's who he is to me. Here's a guy who is great on the mic. This is a guy who's great on the mic. This is a guy who they could push, and this guy could be an upper card. Maybe not a guy who can hold the world title and run, take the ball and run with it, but this is a guy who could be put in the mix. He's got all the tools. I think putting him under the Miz's boot like they're doing, I think is a discredit to him as a character. I liked his old character. I don't like this new character. I don't like the way it's running. I like the Miz. I like the Miz a lot. But this Mizdow thing, I don't like it. I just don't. I think it's a waste.
So then, as a rebuttal, T-Bone, I'm curious. I've pitched this idea, and I'm really interested in what you have to say about it, because I love this. The intellectual savior of the unwashed masses, Damien Sandow. Love that. I love what he's doing with The Miz. But I think that this is just kind of a tool to get him over, like to the point I'd like to see it. I'm curious your thoughts. Damien Mizdow versus Miz, it's a long feud because they've kind of teased it. Basically, they compete to see who's the better Miz. Would you be interested in that? Miz versus Miz? Who's the better Miz?
Absolutely, because I think that both of the guys, and I think the Miz is a little bit underrated in terms of his mic work as well. I think these two could really, really, really put on a good program. Both of them are good wrestlers. The Miz has come a long way from when he started. Obviously, he was very sloppy in the beginning. They gave him his run. Obviously, he's not strong enough of a character to be able to take the ball and run, kind of like Sandow as well. But I think that they complement each other very well. I think they could put on a good program. I think they could put on some good matches. I think they could get into some great verbal sparring on a microphone, and I think it could be some really good, compelling television for Raw and SmackDown, the main event. And I think that would be a pay-per-view match that I would want to see if they did the writing properly, and I think those guys could execute it, and I think they could put on a very compelling storyline that I think would keep viewers interested. And I like that. Who's the better Miz? I like that. That's very creative.
Oh man, Vince, call me. I got ideas. Papa, anything you wanted to add before we keep this ball rolling?
Nicely put, T-Bone. I mean, that match would definitely be pay-per-view status. I would love to see Miz Dow versus The Miz for the better Miz. McMahon, contact Ted. He has ideas. He wants to get paid. Do it.
Do it now.
Vince, you don't even have to find shows. I'll do the whole thing over Google Hangouts, and I will do it from the comfort of my couch and my underwear. I don't give a damn. You don't even have me anywhere. Shit. So the next thing that happened in this show was Sheamus as the U.S. champion versus Tyson Kidd with Natalya. Nice to see the main show. I've been watching him a lot on NXT. Very, very cool stuff. Basically, I don't want to get too far in the match because there's a lot of other stuff that we have to get to tonight. But they did have a kick-ass match. Question, though, did everybody... Well, how do I put this? What do we think a la Macho Man, Miss Elizabeth throwing her in the way of danger so he can avoid it like a chicken shit?
It's been played. You've seen it 1,000 times. Kid is a dick, and Natalya is fine.
T-Bone, your thoughts?
My thoughts have been what I've been saying all along. Can we come up with something fresh, please? Can I see something that I haven't seen before?
You don't like it?
I mean, I can see what they're doing. They're trying to get him involved. They're trying to get him involved, but I don't know, man. Throwing him a la Macho Man, I mean, I've seen it before. I'm not impressed.
I see. I'm a little bit biased because I have a special. I'm a huge Macho Man mark, and I kind of view Damien Mizdow. I view him as the male equivalent of Miss Elizabeth, because anytime anything would happen to Randy, Elizabeth would be the one that we would see. She would be the avatar of his pain to the audience. Even though he was kind of abusive and a paranoid asshole, we still liked him because, hey, fucking, I want to bang Miss Elizabeth. She's the sweetest lady ever. I love it. I think it's great. I love even if it's overplayed in my mind, it's good because like what a dick move. You know, I love it. I think it's great.
Dick.
But obviously we have our own opinions. But basically Tyson Kidd wins with by countout after doing the Macho Man Miss Elizabeth. Don't worry though. After the match, Sheamus give a brogue kick so he can go nighty-night. Gentlemen, next up is what I think one of the better matches on the show. We had Dolph Ziggler versus Seth Rollins, but before the match actually began, there's a long promo. Basically, the Authority offers Ziggler a spot on their team. Basically says if he's on Cena's team and he wins, Cena gets the credit, not him. And if he joins the Authority, they kind of hint that they could position him in a much-needed spot. But before we actually get into the match and the fact that Dolph declined their offer, T-Bone, this is one of the things that we've been seeing on television with Triple H, to where it's almost as if he is reading what the hate on the internet has towards him and kind of plays off of that. So two quick questions. What did you think about this, as I'm sure you've probably seen it before? And also, the heel work, Triple H's kind of acknowledging the smart fans and still telling them to go fuck themselves.
Well, they call him the cerebral assassin for a reason, and that translates into out of the ring, and the fact that he's not really an active wrestler anymore. And I think that Triple H is very smart. He's obviously going to be the future of this business long after McMahon is gone. I think that he is more in tune with the wrestling fan. I think he's a student of the game. And yeah, we have seen this before, but this is Survivor Series. So you're going to see this every year. You're going to see power play positioning and things of that nature. I think it gives a much needed little bit of a rub and a small push to Ziggler, who I think has been wasting away on this roster for many, many years. One of the top guys that they have in that company, and I just don't think that they've really utilized him properly. I think Triple H is like you said, I think he's following the internet buzz and him translating that onto television. The smart wrestling fan is going to appreciate that and understand that. So I think he pulled it off and he executed it very well. And that's pretty much my thoughts on that.
Papo, your thoughts?
T-Bone just steamrolled that for sure. But again, the whole power play thing is totally working, especially this close to Survivor Series. And I'm going to go into more detail about Survivor Series later on during the show. But the whole thing with Ziggler, he stated that he didn't want the authority in power. And I mean, as right now, it looks as if there is a total agreement with the locker room. They don't want Triple H and his authority as the authority. So with that stipulation with McMahon, there's going to be some twists and turns coming up. So Ted, if you will.
I will. So this is definitely something that we have seen before, but I'm okay with things that we've seen before, so long as it's not a carbon copy, right? So long as it's a little bit different and it's done slightly different and it's not literally the same old shtick, I'd be okay with it. So I want Triple H, then I want you gone, I want your wife gone, I want Sellout gone, I want Kane gone, I want these two jabronis gone and out of my life. Triple H then announces that the match is going to be for the Intercontinental Championship. Seth Rollins and cruiserweights. So Rollins and Ziggler just tear the fucking house down, as expected. Basically, some shenanigans, both Mercury and Noble. Let's see. Oh, right. Okay, so there's a point where Rollins goes for the curb stomp. Dolph goes for the zigzag. Mercury distracts the ref on the other side of the ring. Noble jumps up and does that kind of, I don't know if that's called like a hot shot or stun or whatever. Grabs the back of the head, pulls Dolph down, snaps over rope. Seth curb stomps Dolph, and then Orton just jumps in, RKO's Rollins. Did anybody find it weird that the ref didn't call for disqualification? Like the match just stopped? Because I don't remember a bell at all.
No, I don't either. The match was hot.
I didn't hear no bell.
I didn't hear no bell.
Yeah, it was kind of an abrupt ending, and kind of a shame to end it that way. I mean, even if you ended in a DQ, I mean, at least end the match properly. And I think they really dropped the ball there. I think somebody fucked up over there. It's probably some sort of scripted finish, but somebody fucked up. That's definitely for damn sure.
Yeah, I like the ref that was doing this match. He's one of the younger guys, the newer refs that I've been seeing working on NXT. And I don't know if he just because it looked like he didn't even call for it. Like, 'cause, you gotta do the obnoxious pointy thing, and he didn't do that.
I didn't see it either.
Negative.
So technically, that match is still going on. So Triple H and Stephanie backstage. They get interrupted by Orton. He says, "I wasn't trying to make a statement. Give me Seth Rollins one-on-one tonight. Maybe I should fight for Team Cena." They go back and forth. It's not too thing. But basically says, if I go down, you go down with me. I'll give you the match tonight. You can get it out of your system, work it out, get through with it, and then we can all get back on the same page. Then we get this creepy, was it Luke? I see you and shit. Did anybody else think it was Luke Harper, or was it just me?
That was creepy.
That's a strange dude.
Anybody else?
That's a strange dude. That's
Pretty
all my-
girl. Pretty girl.
That is one strange cat.
That was
I'll tell you what.
creepy as hell, man.
No, you're thinking of the one that comes later in the show. Oh, you're jumping ahead, motherfucker. We haven't gotten to that one yet. Come on, man. All right, I'm going to keep it moving. We'll get to that in just a moment. So, Titus O'Neil cuts promo. Says, says that after Survivor Series, winning will now be spelled Titus. He says he has assured the authority that he will not back down from anyone. And then, of course, feed me more. Titus O'Neil versus Ryback. Luckily, I had the foresight when I immediately saw who was wrestling who to get out my stopwatch. Ryback wins, even though he's dominated early on, but wins nonetheless with a shell shock in exactly bell-to-bell, 2 minutes and 25 seconds. My question here, T-Bone, your thoughts on the new version of Ryback, where we're kind of getting a restart. Thoughts?
Hey, can you repeat that last part? I'm sorry, you lagged out for a second. My thoughts on the new Ryback.
Yeah.
Right, the kind of new reboot of the Ryback, where we're kind of skipping all the heel shit he's done for the past year and a half, and we're just going back to that feed me. It's just.
I actually like that gimmick. I mean, he's not a strong guy in terms of mic work. Never has been. But he is believable as a total brute in the ring. I mean, the guy is a force to be reckoned with when he goes in there. Does he have technical wrestling skill? No. But I think for the type of character and the type of size that he has, I kind of like that they're going back to the Feed Me More thing because out of all the gimmicks that they've thrown him through over the past year and a half, 2 years, that was the one that was the most successful for him, and I think that's the one that he'll get over the most with. So yeah, I kind of like the fact that they're getting back to that, and you know, hopefully he'll find a little bit of success. I kind of like his character a little bit. You know, I like his little bully gimmick too back in the day as well.
Are you think you don't think Skip Sheffield could get over?
Wow. Why you gotta bring up the Nexus, man?
I know it's a sore spot for all of us. But so you're in agreement, right? You Feed Me More Ryback. That bully Ryback was cool, but they didn't really stick with it. And Feed Me More Ryback is just a way better character.
I like that.
I got to tell you, when Ryback first came on the main roster scene, I had just moved here and I was staying with my friends, and my nieces would just be at the house with me during the day while they were at work. I was all the wrestling on the TiVo, on the DVR, and they were 3 and 4, and they were into Ryback. Anytime they heard dun dun dun, 5-year-old just going Feed Me More out of their heads. I mean, it's crazy, right? I mean, this gets to that kid market just like Daniel Bryan and John Cena.
Yeah, it's catchy. Feed Me More is definitely catchy, considering that's about all the personality that you're going to get out of him, too.
Works for
But it's catchy.
me.
Works for me,
Papo,
too.
we had a Renee. So, yeah, man, I think it's great. We had Renee Young interviewing Big Show backstage. Big Show suggests that Cena should pick the world's longest athlete, Freudian slip, largest athlete for his team at the pay-per-view. Papo, how many raspberries do you think this gets on the raspberry meter?
The world's largest raspberry. Big Show came out like a
Sold. He's broken.
Big Show's new name is Big Puss. Well, it's the Big Puss.
I don't know. I like the big slow.
I miss my friend. I miss my friend. I miss my burger.
All right, so this leads to the next thing on the show, which is Big Show versus Mark Henry in their world's largest tag team, strongest slam shit. Am I crazy, or is this a match that shouldn't? Is this a match that shouldn't be overexposed, given that the two individuals in the ring for this performance, like, should they review 10 minutes of it? As much as I love Show and Henry, I just don't see the two of them having a good match together.
It's
just
filler.
because it's too massive.
They got to fill time, man. They got to fill
It's
time.
All right.
The world's
Papa.
strongest jabronis.
Also, any thoughts to this new move that Big Show is using? I want to say it's almost like a modified Indian Deathlock, but it looks closer to a sharpshooter. Should Big Show have a submission move? I mean, if anything, the guy throws a punch. Should he have a submission move, or is that just, I don't know?
Any all-around wrestler should have different types of finishers.
But we're talking about the Big Show, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
But what happens when he goes into if he gets a submission match?
Touche. Every wrestler's got to have at least one finisher for each type of match that they can throw at you. Do I think the big lumbering oaf should be using submission wrestling? Absolutely not. Not with his size. But, you know, you got to have,
so
like Papa said.
That goes to my point. I don't know. I'm in agreement with, and I think a perfect example here is Sheamus. Right? Because Sheamus is, in my opinion, his signature interchangeable with his finishes. Because we've seen him win with all of them. So if you want to count them, you've got the white noise, you've got that steamroller fireman's carry deal, you've got the razor's edge, which he's no longer using, you've got the Texas cleave. Like you said, he's got all these moves for all these different types of seasons and matches and whatnot. I just mission hold on anybody. That's my thing. Like, I just don't buy it. If your finish is a fucking punch, I don't buy a leg lock. I'm sorry, I just can't. Unless his move were to be to do like a Yokozuna, where he just puts all the weight on their chest until they tap. I'd be cool with that, but I don't know. It's like Andre winning with a figure four. Like, you just I don't know. This match sucks.
It's only effective on guys who are his size, and not many people are his size. So, but you got to have something in the arsenal.
Yeah,
well, we have two.
Basically, he loses. We have two. I'm confused. I'm drunk, also. By the way.
Yeah, we got the Great Khali, and we have Kane that come close to his height.
Stop it! Don't you can't even mention that man's name. He's banned. You've been fined. Fine of $500 mentioning that guy's name on the show. Fine.
Oh, what, the Punjabi Playboy?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I had to. I couldn't resist.
No, man, that's like basically Big Show makes a cardinal error to the top rope, and of course, big body slam by Mark Henry. World's strongest slam, hits Big Show with the steps, loses by disqualification. Beats up on the world's strongest. Big Show beats up on the world's largest athlete with the world's strongest slam onto the steps. Yeah, to your point initially when we first started talking about this match, Papo, and of course T-Bone to you as well, is it just me or is it Big Show looks like a big pussy in this feud?
Big pussy.
He's the big puss. 100%. He is
Well,
the puss.
here comes the big puss.
I'm with it. I'm in total agreement. Good. So moving on, there's the backstage segment with Trips, Stephanie, and King. We're going to skip. There's really no consequence. AJ Lee shows up on commentary. Renee interviews Brie Bella backstage in her personal assistant role. Eric Rowan, see, this is where you were, Papa. Goes up in a sheet mask, plays with Renee's hair, pulls up her masks and tells her that she's pretty. Eric, I'm sorry, she's Canadian. I don't know if anybody's told you. Anybody's thoughts on seeing Eric Rowan by himself before we actually got to see Luke Harper by himself?
No.
Nope.
I ain't got nothing to say about
Nothing?
that. That was
Bueller.
creepy. That whole segment was creepy.
Bueller.
Bueller?
That's why they're part of the Riot family. Because they're all creepy bastards.
Yeah.
They're all
Good.
creepy bastards.
I'm glad we're in agreement. So we have next up we have Nikki Bella versus Nikki with her sister Brie versus Emma. AJ Lee joins the commentary. Before we actually get into the match, gentlemen, who do you think's better on color commentary? Not well, they don't. I would say play-by-play, but nobody fucking does play-by-play anymore. Who's better on color, AJ Lee or Paige?
Dude, you lagged out on us.
Oh, who's better on commentary? Who's better on color commentary since they don't do play-by-play anymore? Who's better, AJ on color or Paige?
I'm going to go with Paige.
Yeah, Paige is better, but they're both equally as bad.
Yeah.
Really? You don't like Paige at all?
I like her. She's okay. It's just I don't know, man. It's not my bag.
She's just fuckable, right? That's like, all right,
No doubt.
fair enough.
No doubt.
Some
people are better seen than not heard.
So I have an issue with this match, and T-Bone, you know, where occasionally I have a tendency to go on rants. Papo, I'm going to make this one really short. The tarantula. Everybody knows of this move, yes? Is it safe to say that it's popularized mainly by Tajiri?
Yes.
Good. Because I think Yoshihiro Tajiri is a bad motherfucker, and I wish we had more. But who's one of my favorite divas, and very fuckable in my opinion, as far as, you know, local girl next door who's into wrestling, and, you know, she's probably DTF. She uses the tarantula. And I have a big fucking problem with this move. And I never noticed it as a younger individual, but as I'm growing older and reaching that big 3-0, I gotta say, the tarantula is fucking stupid. It's like the worst wrestling move. Because unless you're in a match that does not factor in a rope break, you can't even get a submission on a tarantula. Because even if someone taps out on the tarantula, the ref's obliged to count to 5. To break the hold. So technically the hold doesn't count. If somebody in a sharpshooter and they were holding the ropes and they tapped out, wouldn't fucking matter. John, your thoughts on the tarantula and whether or not it's just something that's just super cool and not any good?
Well, I like the tarantula, but it's all show. So, Emma, I mean, in a match like that, it wouldn't even phase. But taking it back to ECW.
But you can only. Yeah, but in the current product though, you can only put it on for a maximum of seconds though. That's my point. It makes no sense.
No, it doesn't.
Well, 4 don't want to get counted out. Or excuse me, don't want to get disqualified. But I'm sorry. To your point.
Yeah, but like when Tajiri used it in ECW, it was awesome because there was no disqualification. There were no countouts. There were no rope breaks unless it was a submission hold. So in ECW, it flourished like nobody's business. And Tajiri being a badass, he wrecked house in ECW with the tarantula, which opened our eyes to that move. Emma just riding that coattail, and it's worthless right now in WWE.
Yeah,
So,
I definitely.
T-Bone.
Yeah, I definitely agree with Papo's point. In ECW, that type of move obviously flew. Tajiri obviously executed that thing to perfection, even carried it over to WWE. But it is kind of a wasted move, and snatching a move like that from a classic technical wrestler by Tajiri is just, I don't understand the point, especially in the women's division. There's no need for it. There really isn't. But I do like the tarantula as a move, but
Good.
like you said, there's just no spot for it in the WWE because of countouts. But in ECW, that was a great move.
Excellent. So we're all in agreement. Emma's fuckable. Wonderful. Now, Nikki Bella wins with a rack attack. As Eva's getting cooler and cooler moves. As far as I'm concerned, and I'm curious.
You lagging on us, Ted.
Because I know, Papa, you and I have spoken about this before, but
sensory overload.
I'm sorry, Ted, you lagged out on us.
I think Nikki's the better villain. Who's Nikki or Brie?
Nikki.
Nikki.
Titty. I mean, Nikki.
Good. So we're all in agreement. Nikki's fuckable too. All right. After the match, Nikki has her sister raise her arm in victory, whispers in her ear, then basically walks over to AJ, slaps her in the face. AJ drops Brie, Nikki flees, diva nonsense. And then we've come to the weirdest part of the evening. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a video package of Xavier Woods with a black church choir. This is a new day, and it looks like he's rocking a James Brown gimmick. What do we think about this? What is this? The good, the bad, and the ugly. What do we think?
They're trying to find a place for Xavier Woods, dude. Right now, I have no opinion on it. I'm just gonna let that go and see what happens. I mean, he's pretty decent in the ring, a bit more, but I really don't know what to say because this whole bit just threw me completely off. I thought it was a gospel setting, if you will.
If you will.
And I was like, is he going to come to the ring preaching? Or is he going to come to the ring dancing? I was totally thrown off by this whole bit, so that's all I got to say about that.
Gotta see where it goes,
T-Bone,
man.
your thoughts?
Yeah, it's too early in the process. Gotta kind of see where it goes. Sometimes they'll cut a promo like that, and then the character will be completely different than what you think. So you kind of gotta see where it goes. So really don't have an opinion on it yet. But in a couple of weeks, I'm sure we will.
Good answer. Good answer. I'm slightly interested because I don't think, and I may be in the minority here, I've seen about 100 on NXT. And maybe it's because I've never seen him win. He lost to CJ Parker, who CJ Parker doesn't have a win over anybody. So I don't think Xavier Woods is that great. I think it's just that they're keeping him around because they can say, look, we're not just human beings. I don't know. I don't see any promise in it, but hopefully I'm proved wrong. Then we got the squash match of the night with T-Bone, your boy Zack Ryder, versus Rusev. Rusev, in 1 minute and 18 seconds, wins with the camel clutch.
Not surprising.
Yeah.
They gotta find something for him. I mean, they don't have a crew. One of the things I wanted to say. I'll make this quick. There's one thing I really wanted to say. One of the things that WWE is lacking right now is a cruiserweight division, and that's why guys like Zack Ryder keeps getting squashed. And it's a shame. It really is, because the guy does have a little bit of skill, but he can't showcase it because they killed that division a long time ago. And it's a shame. It really is.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Which division did you say that they killed? Are you talking about cruiserweight?
The cruiserweight division. It's a division they need to bring back. Why they killed it, I have no idea. But, you know, guys like Zack Ryder, they're just going to get steamrolled week after week like he's been doing for years. And it's a shame because the guy does have a little bit of skill in the ring. But you can't showcase him because you have really nobody you can put him with. You just don't.
Yeah. I'm okay with it, right? Because I like Zack Ryder a whole lot. I'm with you. I think the gimmick's a little stale, but at the same time, not everybody's going to be over. But I mean, you know, I mean, we can somebody, but he was in the ring for everybody. So I don't know. It's not necessarily a bad thing for Ryder. You could just more. So, gentlemen. After the match, Lana cuts a promo and says tonight Rusev will bring Vladimir Putin the United States Championship. I've talked about this idea before on the show. Rusev then shoots on Sheamus and he says, Sheamus, I will make you beg, I will make you suffer, you will be annihilated. Basically, Sheamus comes out, cuts promo on Rusev, and then it's announced that immediately after the air on the WWE Network, Sheamus. So before we get into that match, because that's going to come in after the main event, we do offers Rusev a spot on their team, and then we have one of the weirdest fucking things to happen of all night. Apparently, Los Matadors have a win over the tag team champions. Does this surprise anybody? Because I didn't know this.
Talking about Los Matadors?
I don't remember this match, dude.
Yeah.
It was very quick. It was less than 4 minutes.
I gotta go take a
leak. I think the highlight on WWE's YouTube.
That's why you don't remember it. That's why you don't remember it.
Yeah, exactly. Fernando with Diego and Torito versus Stardust with, I refuse to call them Star and Goldust. To me, they're the Dust Brothers. Any other name is just fucking retarded in WWE. You should.
Are they a techno band?
Wow.
Fuck it, why not, right? They can make their own creepy little, you know, dusty techno music. You could have Dusty the Father doing the DJ. I don't give a damn. That's money. I'll buy it. They got a video recap of SmackDown where the Matadors have beaten the champions for the #1 contender spot, and then we have Miz and Miz down commentary. Miz and Miz now Stardust for the win with the backstabber by one of the Cologne boys. I don't know. They both seem to me. No racist. Did we care about this? And does anybody? Anybody?
I could not hear anything that you just said because you went on lag.
You would do it on mad lag.
Motherfuckers. Okay. The Matadors win. They have the #1 contender spot. Are they a believable tag team, or are they nothing but jobbers?
Oh, they're a believable tag team as jabronis.
Yeah, they're definitely a jobber tag team. Absolutely, 100%.
Good. Like now that we've gotten that out of the way.
I mean, it's just they're not exciting and they're not inspiring. I'm sorry.
I think they were better as Primo and Epico. I just think the Los Matadors gimmick. Here's the problem, right? I think that Primo and Epico are easily not over, like at all. So I think that they need to just find. I don't know. I just think that Torito, the tag team, and Primo and Epico are just meh because of the role. It's announced that this Friday, actually technically on Tuesday because that's when they tape it, SmackDown will feature the Usos versus Dust Brothers in a SmackDown Steel Cage match for the tag team titles. And then, of course, we have Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins, which would have been my match of the night. Long and the short of it, this match was crazy. Anybody care to give their opinions on this match?
Yo. Hey, yo. They tore the roof off the place, dude. Rollins and Orton, they were awesome. I mean, the match was pay-per-view status. No missed spots at all. Clean movement. Excellent in ring. I mean, it was clean, crisp, and they went at each other like nobody's business. This, for Raw, this was my favorite match of the night.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think these two have a lot of great chemistry in the ring. I think they put on a clinic in there. We saw a lot of both of their arsenals. I think that they worked very well. The match was very well planned out and very well executed. And then, of course, as WWE does all the damn time, they take an outstanding technical match, and instead of giving it a clean finish, they turn it into this big frickin' let's tie in a storyline. Ugh, it's so annoying when you get such a quality match that just doesn't get a clean finish. It's a shame. It really is. But those guys really were definitely the match of the night.
Yeah, and I'd like to kind of jump on that point. Because the finish, right? Essentially, Seth Rollins wins with a backslide. When was the last time someone won with a Freudian slip, racist? When was the last time someone has won with a backslide? I can't think of it. Like, I know Ric Flair would call that spot all the time, but can you remember the last time someone won with a backslide? It's more rare than a roll-up, right?
Divas. Last time I remember a backslide was the Divas.
Yeah, there was a very
Divas don't count.
Finish. Yeah, that's what I said. It wasn't a clean finish. I mean, you don't win with a backslide. Come on, it's just terrible.
But doesn't the win with the backslide go to emphasize the purpose of the competition in the first place? And he's trying to get the win, and he'll get that win by any means necessary, even if it's a move that we're not going to like? Or would it be better to suggest that that's a perfect thing for Rollins to win with, being that he's a heel and we're not supposed to like him?
Valid point. Valid point.
Yeah, it was a very valid point. Obviously not something that you would expect from a heel. Usually you'll get the upset from a face in that type of situation. So it did kind of come out of left field, so that's a very good point. But again, with a match of that quality and the way those guys were going in the ring and the clinic that they were putting on, you have to finish that better. It's just a backslide just kind of dulled some of the work that they did. Didn't take away from what they did, but it could have ended a lot better.
Leaving a bad taste in your mouth.
Yeah, exactly.
So, getting a quick run through the events of basically Orton dominated the match early on. At one point, he clears off the commentary table, argues with the Triple H, and goes for the superplex, which I've always been a big mark for, and I think Orton's one of the better at it right now. And I think he's one of the only people that I've seen break it out routinely, at least. Big suicide dive by Rollins. Rollins goes for curb stomp, gets reversed into a beautiful snap power slam, which I can't figure out whose is better, Goldust or Randy Orton. Hangman CDT, RKO reversal, and a backslide. And then they try to smooth things over. Orton and Triple H talk it out. They get respectful applause from Mercury and Noble, Orton being the bigger man. Rollins tells him, "You be the bigger man, I'll be the better man." And then eat the fucking RKO. And then, of course, the Authority beats the shit out of him. Was this fun?
Yeah, that was awesome. I thoroughly enjoyed it, especially again, I said it earlier during the show. A snake will always be a snake.
That's why he's the Viper.
Wait, I thought he was the apex predator.
Call him what you
it was
want.
Norton.
Call him what you want.
Just don't call him late for dinner.
So that's basically the end of the show. They beat Orton to the point where he's taken out on a stretcher. And then, ladies and gentlemen, my match of the night was Rusev versus Sheamus for the U.S. title. So before we get into any of the actual nitty-gritty, T-Bone, because you're a guest on our show, your thoughts on Rusev, being that your extended history watching wrestling, see the similarities with other characters over the years, but I'm really curious, what are your thoughts on Rusev?
I really like the Rusev character, and I like him a lot. I think that Lana being paired with him as his mouthpiece is very good. I think they're getting over as heels. They're bringing back that whole Russia domination thing that you saw in the 80s, and I really like this character. I like the way that he's just a big, frickin' brutish dude that just goes in there and just beats the shit out of people. I love it. And I think he's very believable. His character is very believable. And, you know, he beat the shit out of Sheamus. Sheamus held his own, but Rusev is going to move on to big things. You know, his character is developing very well. I love Lana. She's definitely fuckable. You know, but exactly. So I honestly think I like the Rusev character a lot. I'm glad to see that they're kind of making that transition from, oh, I'm just going to beat the crap out of all these, you know, low to mid card guys for a very long time, and they're starting to transition him towards that main event. And I really think that in 2015 they're going to give him the baton at some point. And I think this guy's going to be very successful. I think I like his future. I like the way that he carries himself in the ring, and I believe his character. I believe that he's just a big brute that's just going to beat the shit out of you. That's it. Period.
All right. So T-Bone, I'm going to come back to you in a second, and I know that I think all three of us can agree that we would love to eat with Lana's chopsticks, and I'm sure that she's being boned by Rusev. Papo, though. What did you think about our suggesting on previous episodes, or actually, you know what? Phrase. This is to both gentlemen. Does the finish of this match, where Rusev essentially beats Sheamus with a camel clutch, is it just me? Is this reminiscent of Iron Sheik beating Bob Backlund, where Arnold Skolin had to throw the towel?
It definitely had reminiscence of it. And you talked in prior shows how ironic would it be to have Rusev win the U.S. Championship. I'm telling you, dude, they're watching our show. Somebody from WWE is watching our show.
I'm convinced.
And they're taking your ideas.
And they haven't
called.
And they haven't fucking called me.
Yeah.
Real quick, the only reason why I've suggested that is it's the name of the title, right? It's the U.S. Championship. So, in my opinion, there's only two types of people that can hold that title, or should hold that title, at least if I was booking. I would either have the patriotic American babyface or the fucking foreign heel motherfucker. And I would book heels on top no matter what anyway, and make the babyfaces fight from underneath, make people come to see the babyfaces win on those big events. Do you like, Tebow, do you like the idea of a foreign monster heel being the U.S. champion, that it can be just lorded over us, that someone is better than us?
I'm gonna throw a curveball at you, because there was a Russian wrestler in the 80s that I absolutely loved. And when he won the U.S. title from Lex Luger in 1987, and you know who I'm talking about, Papo, Nikita Koloff.
Are you talking Nikita Koloff?
Booyakasha.
Hell yeah!
Yes. Nikita Koloff was one of the best Russian heels in the history of this business. One of my favorite wrestlers of all time. I love that character. I love the way that guy, he was the same way. Maybe not as big as Rusev is, but that character was just, when he beat Luger for that U.S. title, I remember that was a huge big deal, especially in Pro Wrestling Illustrated. They just kept harping and harping and harping. It was a match, and it was one of the hands down one of the classic matches you'll ever see. And I like seeing that I hate the U.S. foreigner holding that U.S. title because, like you said, it's like, okay, we're better than you, and I even have your championship. And I like the fact that they did that. I like the fact that they did that with Rusev. And I think it adds a little bit more credibility to the U.S. title. Not saying that Sheamus doesn't bring credibility to the title, but now people are going to be gunning to take the U.S. title from the Russian. So there's so many different ways that they can go with this. But yeah, as an homage to my man Nikita Koloff, I'm glad that they're going this route.
Good, and I'm in agreement with you. Throw out a couple of quick questions here, two really, and then we can just go over the nuts and bolts of it. T-Bone, you weren't with us back. I know that I wanted to see Rusev just beat the dog shit out of The Rock. What did you want to see out of that confrontation before anything actually happened?
I'm in agreement with you. I love The Rock. I mean, who doesn't? But yeah, what way to get over than to have Rusev just frickin' maul one of the frickin' icons of this industry? I would have loved to have seen that too. Hands down. That would have been great.
The Rock is going to put that blemish on that record.
So then, a quick follow-up. Basically, and I have a second question, but this will go after we cover the match itself. Michael Cole basically repeatedly says throughout the match, but more specifically at the beginning, that Sheamus is champion for at least 180 days and has never, ever, ever tapped out in his career. I'll tell you one of the things that I liked is there was a lot of good wrestling here. I think Rusev is awesome. There's a point where Rusev takes over and has this kind of rolling front face.
You lagged out on us, Ted.
Role that Luke Harper's cool. Sheamus gets his shit in, and then Rusev takes over. Rusev gets him in the count out. So here's either of you can answer it first, doesn't really matter. So now that we've established that Rusev is the new U.S. champion, he's holding a quote-unquote mid-card title. Is it at this point being that words for John Cena and that this would be a perfect rub to give to another quote-unquote mid-card guy?
What?
Okay. Okay,
okay, so Rusev is U.S. champion. He's a mid-card title holder. Because he's holding a mid-card title and hasn't been technically beaten yet as far as singles competition, pinfall, submission, is it safe to say that he would be that the rub gained by beating him would be given to another mid-card or upper mid-card competitor?
Well, this is definitely this step in the right direction. Definitely. I mean, with Rusev, as nasty as he is, he can actually unify the mid-card belts so there's not so many. U.S. title, TV title, Intercontinental Championship. Like they have the heavyweight champion and the WCW champion already unified.
I like it. T-Bone, if we could get your thoughts and then the thoughts of a possible Rusev unification of both mid-card titles, the IC and the U.S. title.
I think it would be a good idea to go ahead and unify those belts. I think that um, it would be good. This run by Rusev is just kind of reminding me of a path that Goldberg took in WCW, where he was just squashing all those guys, and then all of a sudden they fed him a mid-card guy in Saturn. Not to say that Saturn is on the same level as Sheamus. Saturn is a great technical wrestler, but he's not on Sheamus's level. But I see him transitioning into that main event. I don't think you should unify the U.S. and the IC belts. I think that both belts have too much history to unify those titles, and I think that they're good on their own. But to see Rusev walk around with one on each shoulder, I think that would be good for him.
Nicely put.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I think that's very well put. I think the only difference here, though, is, God damn it, the vodka's taking its toll. What was the you mentioned Goldberg.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here, and I know this is gonna come off as crazy, and I may get some hate for it. And comment down below if you agree or disagree. Rusev is better than Goldberg. Honestly, as much as I was a mark for Goldberg as a kid, I think he sucks. I don't think he's that good. I think he's like I think he's Sabu of WCW. Like, I think it's just all hype, and he's been presented in a certain way, and then we get a Goldberg match. Like, he's not bad, but I don't think he's that great.
Tell you what,
like that WCW made, I'm gonna say Sting. I'm not gonna say Goldberg. I'm getting a lot of heat right now, and I can feel it.
Go ahead, T-Bone. Anyone want to say something?
They're two different characters, man. Goldberg, for his time, he was a machine. He was a machine. Rusev is more technically apt. I think he's a better technical wrestler than Goldberg ever was. But as far as an unstoppable force, I'm sorry, Goldberg hands down. The way they packaged him and the way he just steamrolled through everybody, and then they absolutely fucking killed it with that stupid taser. And I'll never forget it, because Papo and I watched that match together. Papo and I watched that match together back in the day. And the look on all of our faces was just like, that just happened? They just totally killed that character. I think Goldberg was packaged better and he was promoted better, but Rusev is the better overall wrestler. That I'll agree with.
Let me rephrase that because I think a perfect example of something that Paul Heyman would say famously: you play to the strengths or accentuate the positives, hide the negatives. I think Goldberg was a protected performer in the fact that he had all that cool shit, and he was over like there's no question. But can you guys hear me? Am I cutting out?
You've been cutting in and out.
Okay.
Regularly, I'm sorry, bro.
No, it's where every week we have some sort of issue. But no, I think Goldberg was definitely over, and I think it was a much better package because, as you mentioned, he was promoted differently. I just think that if you compared the two, I think Rusev is better in the sense that I don't think he's as limited. Like, his weaknesses aren't really weakness, right? Oh, he can't talk. Oh, well, shit, he can talk. Oh, he can't work. Oh, well, shit, he can work. Oh, that dude's strong. But either way, this as shitting on Bill Goldberg, I don't think you can compare the two as far as streaks. I think that in this day and age, Rusev's. I'm talking.
You're lagging out big time.
It's a shame because I know where he's going.
All right. Rusev has beaten bigger names than Goldberg has beaten, and is interesting. But we can confirm that Rusev is our now Lord and Savior, our new U.S. champion. Gentlemen, that really covers it for this week's episode of the Wrestling Exchange. Is there anything else that we wanted to add or kind of quickly mention before we go off the air?
I'm leaving the question on the Facebook page one more week. Please add your input. We want to go ahead and give you guys a title so we can refer to our friends, family, and fans. So I'm going to leave it up one more week. If not, I'm just going to name you whatever I want to name you.
And you're not going to like it. That's the important part.
That's a damn fact. Don't let Papo pick your name. Pick something. Pick something.
Tebow, I thank you for coming on and giving your input. We will definitely reach out to you again in the future shows. And just give my godsons a big hug and kiss from me and tell them that Uncle Papo misses them. And anything else you guys want to say?
Well, I just want to say thanks for having me on. I can honestly say that this has been a blast. I enjoyed talking shop with you guys, and I appreciate the fact that you let me express my opinion on your show. I had a great time, and I look forward to doing future shows with you.
Excellent.
I'm in agreement. This was awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I guess that concludes another week of the Wrestling Exchange, episode 23, hosted by myself, Ted, as well as host Papa, with special guest T-Bone. Hope to see you again in future episodes. We'd love to do that. And again, ladies and gentlemen, comment, subscribe, share, post, all to your social network things. And if you want to become a guest on the Wrestling Exchange, hey, I got an idea. Why don't you put something in the YouTube box? That thing that says comment. Fucking type something up there. Be creative. I don't know. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for coming. We appreciate your business, except that you didn't spend any money on us, just your internet service provider. Thank you, and good night.
Deuces.
There's supposed to be applause. Can we hear it? Okay. Good night, everybody.